Hey everyone, my name's Austin. I'm a senior product designer here at GitLab working in the compliance group. Got a full agenda for the past basically a week and a half, so I wanted to jump right in. So right off the bat, I just want to share something that I was pretty proud of doing. I shared a presentation in our UX showcase on Wednesday. Technically it was asynchronous, so it's been on Unfiltered for a little bit now, but I talk about what I like doing, trying to be an active steward of our GitLab community. So if you want to check this out, go for it. Um, it's not that long of a video. It's about maybe 12 minutes or so. You learn a little bit more about the way that I work with our wider community and kind of see how like a designer contributes in like the open source area. Next, I also want to share that I spent a good bit of time diving into um, a number of issues that we have around project deletion. I feel like I finally have caught up. I feel like I have my head wrapped around it. I had some design suggestions, specifically how some issues should be blocked. I don't know why I listed the same issue twice. It's supposed to be a different one. It's my bad. I'll update the agenda afterwards. But yeah, I think essentially the biggest thing we want to do is prevent users from getting stuck in a situation where they have to know the project URL in order to delete a project permanently. So when it's in that pending deletion state, we definitely want to make sure that it's accessible. We're going to do that by exposing the deleted or the deleted projects tab to owners in GitLab, specifically ones that are on a premium or higher license. And then also we're going to make it easier and more seamless for users to reuse project URL slugs that have recently been deleted. So even if they're in like pending deletion state, we can still allow them to use that same value without having to go through the rigmarole of either changing the namespace path or deleting it permanently. So just trying to make a little more auto magic for our users. Next thing, I want to just give a couple shout outs here. Jan, like, thank you so much. Like, you really went the extra mile for making sure that we had a retry functionality in the status checks widget. This is really meaningful because a piece of feedback that we keep hearing in our SES results is components of the merge request page require you to refresh the entire page in order to see something appear. And so in an instance where maybe like a connection gets blocked or a port's blocked or something, or for whatever reason, the status check component itself just fails to load, not even like get a signal back, or rather approve. It just fails to load. We give users a way to hit retry, and then pretty quickly that gives you the ability to see right there without having to scroll the page again and find where you're at, if it's actually able to get to that connection point. So kudos there. Also, Huzefa, I just want to say you're just like absolutely killing the game. This week I did a merge request review for your SSH key like expiration date, and I mean there were so many things that I expected to not have been covered, and you just knocked them all out. Like every edge case I could think of, you had addressed, minus like one or thing, and I was just really impressed by the way that you handled all those threads and had everything running so well. I was able to quickly get up and running in my local, which is always a big plus. Um, Also, Max, you've been super, super helpful with me lately, investigating a few issues. Like one that you helped out with was a potential bug that was reported by a user around a setting not being inherited, but really came down to more of the way we were explaining it in UI. And then another thing you helped me out with is just coming up with like a quick MVC that we could do to try and like help auto-populate some event data, which would be really, really meaningful to me. So yeah, I want to thank you three. You're just doing a great job. And I'm super glad to have Rob back as well. He's also been doing great. Specifically, I tagged him on a few things, and he was helping me like figure out like another bug we have solve potentially compliance frameworks where it's appearing for projects and namespaces. But nonetheless, glad to have all of you on the team. You're just been really great engineers to work with. Also, I wanted to highlight that I've just been doing a lot of behind the scenes work to try and get the CMS evaluations moving forward. I still have all my pieces kind of in place, just kind of working with UX research to get things scheduled. I think the Gitpod problem has been resolved. Unfortunate thing is I have to like repopulate everything in Gitpod, I think, to set up my experiment again, but that's fine. I can do that. I documented how I did it last time, so just need to take the time to do it. Next, I want to share we aren't going to necessarily have to do some of the work for our users view in the admin area. I think Access might pick up a few things here. specifically with how like the table interactions are working. We had a few outstanding things to update, but I think Access is going to help us out there. Let's keep an eye out for that. And actually, did I just see a new feature? I think I just saw a toggle appear somewhere. I don't normally see it, so now I'm intrigued. Oh, you can now show or hide labels. Wow. Spacing is interesting, but cool. Sorry, got distracted. I also want to share that Nick posted a really great presentation on workspaces and namespaces, specifically how they align our information architecture. And like, I've also opened an issue to try and start highlighting what I expect to be impacted. So specifically, these are maybe things we already have in flight or waiting to be scheduled that might no longer be necessary once namespaces are created within a workspace. And then we have some things that we have in self-managed right now that we're trying to figure out where they would go, or maybe they exist in self-managed and SaaS today, but we're also trying to figure out how do we consolidate into a single namespace. So we have some things to do there, but I'm going to try and start documenting it so we have a clearer picture to get feedback on in the future. And lastly, also, I want to say that I highlighted an issue, or I closed an issue about allowing non-expiring personal access tokens. Access is technically going to cover this. So I think what this exception was supposed to do was allow users the ability to say, hey, I want for basically what is essentially a bot using a person's disguised as a personal access token to never expire or have a really long one. They're going to be creating a specific experience for bots specifically. And so those service accounts will have their own experience, and they'll have a way to specify how long the duration can be, including like a non-expiring one. So it won't necessarily be needed anymore for personal access tokens to be non-expiring, since you could only kind of specify whether or not the personal access token should be able to expire. Whew, mouthful. That's it.